Hello, it's Crafty Carol here again with yet another little video for you to make a card. I'm really pleased with this one. It's got a lot of, I don't know if you see, hopefully you can see some of the shine. It's done with gold embossing, which I'll talk about. And I'm using a technique to watercolour the petals and the leaves. So that's what I'm going to show you as we make the card together. So I'm using for the card a beautiful suite. It's called the Abigail Rose suite, and the stamp set that goes with it is this Cottage Rose set, and it comes with a whole load of matching cottage flower dies. Let me just show you those. And they cut out obviously the images here, one missing because I'm just about to use it. So let's, without any more, let's move on. I have made, to go with it, a matching bag. That's going to be the subject of another video very soon. So for this card, what you will need is, you will need a card base. I've got all the bits here ready just about. A normal card base, which is 21 by 14.8, scored at 10.5, and that's the card base. I've done this a centimetre smaller all round, so it's actually 9.5 by 13.8, and that's for the middle. I've already embossed the flower for that, for the centre of the card. And then for the front of the card, two little bits of matching ribbon. This is a retired ribbon, I think, petal pink ribbon with a lovely little gold edge. I've used the double oval punch for the sentiment, and I have used smoky slate for the outer sentiment and basic white stamped in smoky slate for the inner one. I've already prepared that to save a little bit of time. And then the pieces you need for the card, there is a smoky slate layer, which is going to go on roughly there, and that is 8.5 by 12 centimetres, and then a piece of DSP for on top of that is 8 by 11.5 centimetres, and this is from the paper that comes with the suite, which is the Abigail Rose Designer Series paper, which is just beautiful. On this card I've used the smoky slate background with the leaves, and there is a touch of petal pink in it. This one is simply smoky slate, and it looks quite silvery. It's rather beautiful. I've actually used some of that to make a wedding card for somebody because it looks very weddingy to me. So that's the bits I need. And then I also need obviously a scrap of basic white for the sentiment and a piece of basic white that we're going to do the stamping of the rose on so that we can cut it out. So I just wanted to go through embossing for people who don't know. First thing you need is the Stampin' Up Embossing Buddy, and this is great because it takes any remaining bits of, I don't know, fingerprints and other oily things off the card, and it means that your embossing powder is not going to stick where you don't want it to, which is something that's a big problem. Now we are going to cut out this image, but so it doesn't matter quite so much, but it's still important to do it. Then to do embossing, you need the Versamark stamp pad. Mine's a little bit dirty, but what the heck. And all I'm going to do is ink up the image just as you would with any other ink. So we're going to make sure it's inked all over. And you can usually see that it is. And then you're going to stamp it on your piece of card, your spare piece of card. So I'm going to press that down. You won't be able to see anything when I lift it up because obviously Versamark is clear. I'm going to put the top on that, important to do. So there we have the image. You can't see it at the moment, but then the magic happens. Now, embossing powder, I tend to keep mine in these old ice cream tubs, and I've got a little spoon that lives in there as well. Because I'm a very messy crafter, and therefore if I tried to do this any other way, it would get very messy. So all I can do then is just tip the embossing powder over the card, and then flick it to get rid of any excess, and hopefully it drops in there instead of all over my work surface, because I'm very good at being very messy. So that is away, and as it says on the top of the lid there, this is gold embossing powder. So as you can see, it just doesn't look anything much now, so I'm going to heat emboss that, and while I go away and do that, I'll just sort of cut out that bit of the video. Nobody needs to see this bit. So here we are back with the embossed piece. Hopefully try and catch the light in the film to show you it's beautifully gold embossed now. And what I want to focus on is how I've done the colouring on this one. As you can see, I've actually coloured the flower in petal pink, coloured the leaves as soft sea foam, and how I've done that is I am using an aqua painter, which is just a little bit damp. I'm going to take it out because I don't want too much water on it, so I'm making sure my tip is standard up so it doesn't leak everywhere. Ha ha. I'm very good at dropping that and putting water everywhere. Oh, stand up please, thank you. So I've got the tip here and I'm just going to use this to do the painting with. And to do the painting, I'm actually just going to open my ink pad and get a clean stamp, or cleanish stamping block, and I'm just going to press that block into the pad, which means I've covered the block in the ink. And now I can pick it up with my aqua painter and just add it to the image, and I could just put a little bit of dark on and then move it around a little bit, so I've got dark at the base of the leaves and moving it out into the rest of the leaf there. And I'm just going to play around and do this. I might try and make the video quicker at this point because you don't need to just watch me do the whole thing, but I'll do that, and then I'll do exactly the same with the soft sea foam to do the leaves. So that's the finished watercoloured in rose flower. What are they? Cottage roses, so it is a rose. And all I've done is used the darker colour at the base of the petal and then pulled it up with the aqua painter to spread over the leaf. So it's not exactly even, but that's exactly the effect I want. So now I'm going to do exactly the same thing in green, having cleaned my block and dried it thoroughly, and cleaned my aqua painter as well, of course. I'm now going to do exactly the same thing in soft sea foam to do the leaves. Okay, so that is the flower coloured in. Hopefully you can see that. So I've used the soft sea foam on the leaves and petal pink on the rose itself. So now I'm going to get my die and go and cut it out, and then we can assemble the card. Okay, so here is my completed and coloured flower all cut out. For this card, you could use any large flower stamp and fussy cut it out yourself if you wanted, or this set obviously is beautiful. Ask me if you'd like some. So now it's about, I've done this by the way, I've coloured in this one as well. So it's just about assembling the card. And we're going to start off simply by putting the centre in the middle. I'll just add a little bit of Tombow. I like using Tombow to put cards together because it just gives me that little bit of wiggle room if I need it. So I'm going to make sure my border's roughly the same all the way around, and then press that in place. That's the inside. I haven't put a sentiment on because this card is going to be a thank you card, and in general for thank you cards I like to just write something in. So now we're going to complete the top bit. Now do not stick these pieces onto the front just yet. We're going to assemble it by putting, isn't the back of this paper beautiful as well? By putting the DSP on the back of the smoky slate card first. So we'll just put that together again, leaving a nice little rim all the way around so it's even. And the next stage is that I'm going to stick the ribbon around. So I've cut two, you only need tiny little bits of ribbon, so you don't need too much of this. And I'm just going to use some tear and tape. And I'm going to just use a little bit either side. Now to get that straight, I know I want it roughly there. So I can use the marks on either, if I have, I'm obviously using this board that I've had for quite some time and I love, or you could use the graph paper or whatever, the Stampin' Up graph paper. Anything that's got a line that you can use to make sure that you're going to stick these bits on straight. So I am going to get that lined up again on my lines and use it to just make sure I'm getting those in the right place. And then I can stick this piece around, find my pokey tool just to get the ends off. There we go. So we'll have that bit there. Bring it round and there, making sure it's fairly tight around the front. You can put, actually it's a little bit lower than I would want, obviously I haven't got it quite where I wanted it. Just stick that bit down again. It's the beauty of the tape, I can actually move it very slightly. There we go, that's better. So I've got that stuck on. Now to do the knot, you can either tie the knot and stick it on with a glue dot, or what I would do is just slide a little bit of ribbon underneath that first one and then tie a knot in it, and then you can place it exactly where you want. So I'm going to have mine at this side. I'm going to pull it too tight because I don't want to make the ribbon too tight. Then I can trim that and stick it down if I want. I can also put a little bit of tear and tape just under the other bit of the ribbon here, just to hold it down, which I will do. Ooh, come out, little paper. Don't stick down till you're straight. There we go. So that'll just hold it in place. And I can also use a little bit of some glue dots or something to put those in place if I want, but I'll fiddle with that later rather than waste time with you now. So now we can stick this onto the front of the card. Again, I'm just going to use some Tombow. So if you're interested in either having a catalogue, if you haven't got one, or if you want to order anything, please do get in touch. You can order direct through my website from my shop, my Stampin' Up demonstrator shop, or you can find me as a demonstrator on the Stampin' Up site and use that, and I'd be very grateful. But I'm very happy to send you a catalogue if you'd like. So now all that remains is just to stick the image on, and we're going to do that, reach over, just with a few dimensionals, because I want that to sit up and be the star of the show, as it rightly should be. So let's put a few of these around. There we go. Get the top backings off. I have just dropped those all over the floor instead of in the bin. I'll pick them up later. So then I can put that as the main centerpiece of my card there. And then the same with the sentiment. I'm just going to stick a couple of dimensionals on the back, and I'm going to stick that just along here. And there we have that beautiful card. It's really simple, but this watercolour over embossing technique is so simple but so effective. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope to see the cards you've made. Obviously, as I always say, do not forget to stamp your envelope, which I'd already done. I've used the leaf from the lovely Cottage Rose stamp set and just stamped it in the corner of the envelope and all over the flap at the back. So that forms a lovely little gift for somebody. I know who that's going to. It's a customer who's just done a lovely order with me, and that will go there. I'm just going to stick those down with some glue dots, and that's all I'm going to do to finish this. So I hope you've enjoyed that one. The next video in my series will be showing you how to make the matching bag that goes with this card. Please subscribe if you've enjoyed this, and go to my website craftycarolscards.co.uk and have a look around. There's all sorts of other projects there for you to enjoy. Thank you for joining me today. Bye for now.